What's going on, YouTube? So today what I would like to go over are some common misconceptions about coordinating the left hand and the right hand while picking. Today I want to go over some exercises. I'll leave you with some tabs at the end of the video, which will have you guys all set in no time. So there's three major things going around right now in the guitar community that I feel are doing people a major injustice. So let's go over three of them. First one here is the fact that people are supposed to learn how to play things slow, then slowly work up their speed to them, and that's supposed to be the answer. So then why are still so many people struggling with left and right hand coordination and getting their licks up to speed? The simple and salient fact here is that certain licks deserve a certain minimum speed. Now you really have to do your best to work up to that minimum speed so the gears are in motion and the technique is there to play it efficiently. That's number one. Number two, people think down, up, down, up, down, up picking for every lick is something that's going to get them through what they want to play. That's not necessarily the case. Although you can build good left and right hand coordination, there are other techniques that make things easier, especially something like economy picking. When you're playing 3 notes per string, you go down, up, down. The down's the third note. Then you carry that downstroke to the next string. And that's another thing that needs to be explored more because it helps develop the right and left hand coordination a lot better if you get these correct. The third and final point here is that the guitar community seems to believe that if you have lower action on your guitar, you can play things, 50 to 75% more efficiently than other people. Then my argument is, why are there so many people with low action that can't coordinate their left and their right hand? So it's a little bit more than these things. So what I want to do is dive into some exercises, 4 particularly, that if you practice these and these techniques, you should be able to line up your left and your right hand more proficiently. So let's check it out. Alright guys, so the first lick that I really want to get in here is something that basically carries you from more legato, like hammer-on legato, into something where you're picking. So I think the most difficult thing out there right now is a lot of artists have trouble leaving their technique and going into another technique in the same lick. I certainly struggle with it. So today what I really want to go over with you is something that connects 2 kinds of techniques. So the first part of the lick goes like this. Okay? Then what we're doing after that, because that's a lot of hammer-ons, that's the first technique. The next technique we're going to connect through economy picking. Okay, together sounding like... So basically what we want to do is connect both of those patterns, start them at a certain speed, because yeah, sure, get comfortable with the notes and then play them to speed like I did, but what you really want to be able to do is play them at a minimum speed, because this kind of lick warrants a certain speed or you don't get the same tonalities. So when you go into this a little bit further, we start like this. So we're hammering off from the 12th on the high E, the 12th fret to the 8th. So we're doing a classic arpeggio here, 3 string. So it's hammering off from the 12th to the 8th. And then we're gonna use that middle finger, slap it on the 10th fret. And then we're gonna go to the next string here, that G string on the 9th fret. And then we're gonna hammer on the middle finger to the 10th fret. Then what we're doing with that pinky is we're slapping it on the 12th fret on the D string, together sounding like... Next 2 notes are same string, 9 fret, 10 fret. And then we're going to hammer on the 12th fret there with the pinky. And on the A string, that's going to be a hammer on from nowhere. On the 8th fret to the 10th fret, and then a hammer on with that pinky finger on the 12th fret in the low E. Then we're going to go right into economy picking. So that's going to be very simple. That's going to be down, up, down, down picking. So between each transition of 3 notes on each string, you're going to continue the downstroke. For example, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. So this lick here, this economy picking part is over 4 strings, and we're going to go 8, 10, 12, carry the downstroke to the next string, which is going to be 9, 10, 12, then the next string, which is 9, 10, 12, and then 9, 11, 12 on the next string. So playing this is really going to help you coordinate your picking hand, because anytime you switch up the technique you're using, it takes a lot of mental sharpness to keep things in balance at the same tempo. This exercise will certainly help you do that. And it'll make it easier to play other lines that are just one simple technique, like let's say alternate picking. It'll make it easier to be able to play those kinds of things. So my point here is that if you learn things that are harder than what you're trying to do, not always, but sometimes, it makes the things that are a little bit easier, right? So give that a shot, and we'll get into number 2. So the next pattern we're going to cover, we play over 6 strings. It's the same kind of pattern over 6 strings. I feel like people, sure, maybe over 3 or 4 or even 5 strings, have their technique down and they're able to coordinate their left and their right hand. But I feel somehow people have a serious problem trying to coordinate their left and their right hand with a certain technique over every string. At least that's a weakness that I see. Let me clarify, something like that, like economy picking over 6 or 7 strings, depending on how many strings the guitar has. I feel like people have a very hard time doing things like that. So this lick is not economy picked, but it is the same notes I just played, but in a different pattern. So that's going to be the pattern, right? Now the good thing about this pattern is what it does is it allows you to play 3 sets of different patterns. For example, that's the first set, that's the second set, and it allows you to play different fingerings. Now the thing is, a lot of people don't coordinate their fingerings very well, especially when they change. So for me, it's very easy to play a lick over, let's say, 7 strings or 6 strings because the fingerings remain the same. So when you add in something with 6 or 7 strings like this and switch up the fingerings, it gets tough. So play it a little bit slower is. So going into this a little bit further, we're going to break down this lick. It's basically 3 notes ascending on the first E string. So that's 3, 5, 7. Next string, the A, you're hitting the 3. So that's going to be 3, 7, 3, 5, 7. So it's the same kind of fingerings over different strings, but the difference is here, the first and the second string groupings that we play, the fingerings are different, so they might goof you up, and it's definitely a way for you to improve and coordinate your hands. So this goes up. The second part of that is a bunch of different notes, so it'll really help you coordinate, and this is alternate picking. So the next set of notes is going to be, which is going to be 4, 5, 7, and that's going to be on the next string we hop to, which is the G, which is going to be 4, 7, 4, 5, 7. And then the last string grouping, I should say here, is, which is going to be 5, 7, 8, 5, 8, 5, 7, 8. So one more time, played fast. So that is definitely something you want to practice. Changing fingerings in the same kind of patterns that you're playing will definitely help you promote your guitar playing and bring it to the next level. Alright, so this next exercise covers 4 strings, and it's more of a great exercise to warm your hands up to get them coordinated, so just listen to this. So this is over 4 strings, and basically the point here is that you're in a very close grouping, so nothing changes. It's a great way to warm your hands up. Play it slow. So when you're ascending, right? The first 3 strings you're playing here, right? Which is that you start on the D string and you ascend from there. You're playing 9, 10, 12. 9, 10, 12, downstroke. So we're doing economy picking on this one. Down, up, down. Continue that downstroke to the next string. 9, 10, 12. Same thing on the next string. 9, 10, 12. And now 8, 10, 12 on the high E string. And that's gonna be 8, 10, and then you're gonna use your pinky on the B string on the 12th fret, and then go right back to the index finger on the 8th string, sounding like. Then the next part is, which is gonna be the middle finger on the 10th fret, hammer on to the 12th fret, and then back on the same B string there to 9 and 10. So the next notes are going to be, which are going to be on the G string, 12th fret, and then back down to that B string on the 9th fret. Then that's going to be 10, 12, and that's going to be on the G string as well, 9, 10, all together sounding like. Now, which is going to be that next part right there, which is going to be on the G string, 9, 10, then we're going to hammer on from nowhere the 12th fret on that D string, and then we're going to downstroke with the index finger on the 9th fret, and then we're going right back to that D string on the 10th fret, and to the 12th fret on the pinky, and then 9 on that D string, and 10 on that G string. The last thing I really want everybody to work on is muted legato. The point being is that it's so important when you go from legato to your next technique. Your pick is kind of like following but not touching the strings. That's another major point of coordination. This is something you need to practice. So for example, legato here is, but then that connects to something like, your pick is, if you noticed, following those strings even though you're not picking them until you're ready to start picking again. That is something that is so precise that people need to work on. So to break this down a little further, we're going to do the, which is going to be your pinky on the 12th fret, and we're going to pull off to the 8th fret, then 10, 12, 10, 8, and that's all going to be on the high E. Then we're going to go right down to the B string, which is 12, 10, and 8. And then on that G string there, we're going to do 11, 9, and 7, sounding like. Going into this a little further, you connect this into a little more legato, so here's the first part. Okay, you're going to slide positions and you're going to go, that's legato there, which is going to be 5, 7, 9, 7, 5, and then go back to the previous string, which is the D string, and we're going to go 9, 7, 5, right? And we're going to go back up, 7, 9. Now this is the part where you switch into alternate picking or economy picking. I prefer economy. We're going to go 5, 7, 9, 5, 7, 9. On the B string, we're going 7, 8, 10, and 7, 8, 10 on the high E string. You need to really learn to connect your passages that way because it really helps you coordinate, and it allows you mentally to be able to pay attention to your hand. Even though it's not touching the strings, you make a different connection in your brain, and when you're following your pick in your brain but you're actually not touching the strings, it actually helps you learn in a different way. And this is very important, and this is something that's helped me out tremendously, so I would definitely suggest practicing this. Alright guys, so that's the end of the lesson. You learned 4 different great ways to learn how to coordinate your left and your right hand. First way, you learned how to incorporate 2 different techniques in the same lick. Same lick meaning within seconds, a transition. So it's a very, very quick transition. It's something that takes a lot of dexterity and practice. So that's really good for helping you learn how to coordinate your left and right hand. The second lick went over 6 different strings with the same technique. And that's something you need to learn. A lot of people, I feel, when I see them play licks or that are really stuck, seem to only be able to play really cool licks, but only on like the first 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 strings. Not all 6. You should really be learning these things over 6 strings. The third pattern is a great warm-up. It will help you coordinate things because it's in the same kind of area and it incorporates economy picking in the same kind of box, but it's not pentatonic. So it's a little something different. The last technique we went over really helps you use muted legato, covering the strings on the right hand, right? And then picking and using a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs on the left hand, but the point is the pick follows even though it's not touching the strings. This kind of technique is something that will help you mentally be able to follow the strings, but the real treasure here is to be able to, when you're ready to start picking again, be on that same string, picking with the right hand and coordinated with the left hand so you can play better. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and if there's anything else you'd like me to go over, drop me a message, and don't forget to follow me on my Instagram, and please subscribe to this video.